daily leftist detox counselor, your fearless host, Brock Lawley.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Brock Lawley program. My name is Brock Lawley. President Obama announces 5,000 Syrian refugees now will be shoved down the American gullet. This is on the heels of the fact that it was a Syrian refugee that just blew up Belgium. This is on the heels of the fact that San Bernardino traced to immigration failure. And by the way, right now, as this is happening, they found 5 Pakistanis and 1 Afghan at the border. The Afghan off the charts for a terrorism background. These guys came from Panama to Mexico and jumped our border. The level of insanity that this administration is perpetrating on you and your family is unbelievable. There's 5 states, Illinois, California, PA, and 2 others, of which I don't remember them right now. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been saying this for a long time. I don't think there's anything even slightly unfair or untrue about it. Your president's a treasonous man. At this point, the goal is to harm. Now look, hear me say this. I know the angle, right? I know the angle. The angle is we're the United States of America, right? Hillary Clinton's out there saying she wants 60,000 refugees. This is the angle. We're the United States of America. We're better than this, right? We're better than this. I suppose the angle there is that there are definitely people that are in need. That's without a doubt. The whole situation's horrible, has a lot to do with this administration's foreign policy, but that's not the issue. The fact that there are people in need is a real problem. A definite problem that no one is denying. Now, they'll strawman that, but it's true. There's no one, myself included, that doesn't have a heart for that doesn't care for that. But explain to me how a weakened United States of America, and without any doubt whatsoever, based on hard intelligence, ISIS will permeate at least 10% of these refugee populations. That's a fact, ladies and gentlemen. That is happening, will happen. We know this now. We have intelligence on this. I come from a U.S. military branch that depended on intelligence. This stuff isn't just Johnny-come-lately talking points. I know everybody's reading their Facebook page and there's all this emotive stuff and your opinions blow around like the wind, and you have an opinion, I have an opinion, you have a truth, I have a truth. Not the case here. We know for a fact that this is happening. Your family, my family, your neighbors, and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of Americans are at risk because of this. We don't even need to speculate, because throughout the globe, the consequences of this are befalling civilizations. Germany, most notably, who are having their women raped in the streets, who now have their own women. Their own women can only swim in bathing suits at certain times of the day. Why? Because the Syrian refugees do not approve of it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's beyond criminal. It's beyond treason. Because it's knowing he's harming this nation. And I don't really care if in some way or in some circles in this nation, they're going to try to manipulate you and tell you, tug on your heartstrings, and tell you that the only way we can help refugee crisis is to bring them to the United States. That's factually incorrect. It's factually incorrect. First of all, we have Arab nations flush with money. Saudi Arabia comes to mind. And by the way, they owe us a few favors. There's Bahrain. There's Qatar. There are countless nation states that can take in Syrian refugees. By the way, some of which already have the infrastructure for this. Saudi Arabia, for example, has thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of cots and beds already constructed for the trip to Ramadan, already constructed for the Mecca travels. You can see this all online. They say no. They refuse it. They don't want to take in the refugees. Now, it was radical Islam And it is radical Islam that has caused the refugee crisis. And of course, that has been ignited by the gasoline of Obama and Democrat foreign policy. So I think it should be Islamic nations for lots of reasons, by the way, most of which obvious and commonsensical. Assimilation comes to mind, common language comes to mind, common culture comes to mind. There is absolutely no reason that the United States should be importing, helicoptering thousands and thousands of refugees into this nation when we know for a fact that they wish to harm Americans. It is purely treason. The Democratic Party every day renders itself holistically unfit to govern a free people. But what is the number one? The number one purpose of a government is to put your well-being, you, the American citizen, your well-being and number one, number uno, your safety first. Otherwise, why do we even need a government, I ask you? To helicopter in what we know to be an ideological enemy that hates this nation, hates these people, hates this culture. It is absurd. You shouldn't sit on your hands on this one because it could be your kid. It could be your kid at an amusement park. It could be your kid at a soccer stadium. It could be your kid at a mall. It could be your kid at a movie theater. This is very, very real. Ask the parents who watch their children in pieces in Brussels. This is absurd. This is completely absurd. Raise your voice. Do something about this, my fellow Americans. If you don't, you will be watching headlines increasingly that show your Americans, your fellow Americans, bleeding in the streets.
À Broclo, les productions